and welcome back to Melting Smiley Face. I think in the last video I called it Melted Smiley Face, and sometimes I go between the two because I forget which one is which. But hello, welcome back. So, my previous video was a video podcast, and I said in that video that podcast episodes are going to be when I have a plethora of things to talk about, and when I have one topic, it's going to be a main YouTube channel video. So this is the main YouTube channel video. Hello, welcome. I hope you guys enjoy. So today we're going to be talking about my experience of being a neurodivergent person, specifically being a person who has ADHD. So, where to begin? I was first diagnosed with ADHD when I believe I was 10 years old. I think my teacher is the one who suggested to my mom to get me tested. And when I hear about stories about me as a kid, apparently I was very hyperactive, so it does make sense that I did have ADHD. Like all the stories from my childhood of me like jumping off the walls and like drawing on walls, and like I couldn't sit down basically because I was so hyperactive and I had so much energy, which is kind of ironic when you consider that now I am very mellowed out. I think my hyperactivity has moved from physical to just more in my head, because I am not the type to be jumping off the walls most of the time. I do have sparks of high energy, especially when I'm alone. Like I'll be listening to music and then I'll just like run from one side of the room to the other, high energy for no reason, and then just calm down. But in terms of being hyperactive all the time, like I'm just not doing that anymore. I'm more mellowed out as a person. I'm just hyperactive in the brain. So it's been an interesting journey being neurodivergent, mostly because even though I am neurodivergent, I've always chalked up everything about me to like maybe a personality quirk or a personal failure. If I didn't do well in school, I assumed it's because I was personally failing. I wasn't paying attention. I was too distracted, and I was putting all that on me without ever really addressing that my ADHD is what is playing a part in why I have such difficulty in school. I didn't really get the help I needed for my ADHD until college, specifically until my second college, because if you don't know, before the college I go to now, I transferred from another college. But before that, I first went to another college in Toronto called, I think it's called George Brown. I went there for a year. I really only went there for their like performing arts program, specifically their acting program, because I like to act. So I went there. I pretty much only went to my acting classes. I did not go to any of my other classes that I was signed up for, and I pretty much just failed out. So I ended up just taking a year off from school after that first semester, because clearly I needed to gather all my thoughts and understand what I really wanted to do with my life. So I took a year off where I was basically just doing nothing, trying to like get a job to sort of sustain myself, because I was living in an apartment with my sister and she was working and going to school, and I was basically doing nothing. But in 2020, I officially started going to my second college, which is a college called Landmark that was in Vermont. I did not know that there were colleges like the college that I went to, because the college that I went to was specifically for neurodivergent students. I didn't know those kind of colleges existed. I really thought that when it came to dealing with kids who had like what I had, whether it's ADHD, autism, or like any of the other things that exist on that spectrum, I just assumed that you would just get maybe extra accommodations in a regular college, but I didn't know there were schools made specifically to cater to neurodivergent kids. So I went to my college. It was all the way out in the woods. Like there was pretty much no one surrounding there. It was just trees. And I went there for 3 years. I enjoyed it slash didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy how secluded it was because I am fundamentally, to the core of myself, a city person. I don't like suburbs and I don't like the woods. I like being around big buildings, lots of lights, with something happening everywhere, because I feel like the energy of cities just gives me, as someone who is like very low energy and kind of introverted and doesn't really go out much, being around other people's energy in a big city gives me the energy that I need. But anyway, that was a tangent. So I went to this school that was specifically for neurodivergent students, and I have never before in my entire life experienced going to a school where literally every teacher there was dedicated to helping their students who they know struggled in this very specific way. And everything about the way the school works was just so simple. Like, it wasn't complicated, which was great for me. You could get one-on-one time with a lot of the teachers. You had very one-on-one time with like advisors. You really felt like they cared for you, and it makes sense. It is a small school. There weren't a lot of students, so teachers do have more time to take more interest in the individual students. But I really enjoyed that experience through that school. I learned a lot about myself, especially as someone who, before going to college, or even in my first year of college, didn't even know what exactly I wanted to do. Like, I know what my big dreams are, which is to act, but like my more tangible dreams that I can achieve more regularly than breaking into the entertainment industry, I realized what they are through that school, and I am so grateful for that. And they really taught me in a way that was easy for my neurodivergence to understand and to comprehend. And now that I have transferred again to another school, it's it was hard at first because, again, because my neurodivergency does make me, I hate the word lazy, but because it just makes me not motivated to do a lot of things. When came to this school and I needed to fill out all the forms I needed to get my accommodations, I saw all the paperwork and I was like, oh, I can't do this. I need to slow down. I need to do something else. And I put it off and I put it off and I put it off. I finally was able to do it. Like, I was able to sit down, read it, and give them all the information that I needed to give them. So I'm happy for that. But yeah, it is very hard as a neurodivergent student to move from a school that was specifically designed for you to a more regular school. But I am, you know, grace of God, managing to do all right. So I am happy for that. So, how my neurodivergence affects my everyday life is interesting. One thing that, if you study ADHD or know the symptoms of ADHD, one of the things is that people with ADHD have a huge problems with executive functioning, and I have always had that problem. I am a person who forgets a lot, obviously. I also am bad at organizing. Like, before I shot this video, I organized my whole room to make sure that the background looked appealing while I was talking into the camera. But usually I'm just not a person who is very organized, which can be very sticky for a lot of people to deal with. Like, when I used to live with my sister, we used to get in fights all the time because I was so unorganized compared to her, who's like a neat freak. Everything has a place and everything should be in its place. So for me, because I have always been so unorganized, the unorganization of the space around me has always reflected the unorganization of my brain, because everything doesn't have its specific slot that it fits into. My brain has never had thought to fit into a specific slot that it fits into. I personally do not know if this is a byproduct of ADHD or if it's just a me thing, but I'm hard at prioritizing things. Like, if I have a lot of work to do, it's hard for me sometimes to prioritize which one I should do first. Usually what would make sense is to do the easiest ones and get them out of the way first so you can spend more time on the harder ones. But my brain just like whatever pops into my head first is what I'm going to do. So I end up spending too much time on things that I shouldn't have, or too much time on things that could have been handled later because it's the first thing that popped into my head to tackle. And that does make schoolwork a little rough to deal with because if I have deadlines to meet and I'm working on something that's going to take me like 3 days to finish and it is due in a week, I should be working on the thing that is due tomorrow, obviously, but because the one in 3 weeks popped into my head first, that's what I start tackling. And usually I have to force myself to stop and reorganize so I can actually properly prioritize what exactly I'm supposed to do. Something else that is a byproduct of my neurodivergency that I have tried to work on, I have made the what's it called resolution every new year to prioritize actually calling and talking to people. So one of the biggest problems I have, and my family will attest to that, is that I don't call people. I don't usually communicate with people. And it's not because I don't want to talk to them or because I don't like them. It's literally just because my brain often forgets that they exist, and then randomly my brain will remember that they exist. It will usually be at the weirdest times where I know if I call them now, they'll probably be at work or they'll probably be busy. So it's an inconvenient time to talk to them. But if I don't call them that time, I will definitely forget until another time. So a lot of people can attest to them not having a lot of communication with me because I am so spaced out and because I often forget. What I'm trying to do, I should probably start it sooner. I was trying to start it next month, is make a list of people I need to call every week. So I know this week I need to call my mom, my dad, my sister, call my aunties, call my cousin, like call my friends so they can let know what's going on in my life because so many big events just happen and then no one knows about it until I randomly tell the story like later. Like I did not know that I did not call my aunt to tell her about my graduation until literally the day of my graduation when I called her and I was just like, "Oh, hi, aunt. Guess what? I graduated." And she was just like, "What? You didn't tell me you were graduating before." And I'm like, "I didn't. I swear I told you. It literally just slipped my mind because I don't talk to people." So I am trying to change that about me. And I hope that my neurodivergency doesn't get in the way of me actually trying to build stronger relationships with family and friends because I just forget that they exist. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.